What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Carl. I'm the Consumer Review Lad, and this is a Consumer Review podcast for Survivor Season 41, Episode 2. I just consumed Survivor Season 41, Episode 2, and I'm going to review it right here in this podcast. Survivor tonight started with a cold opening, no intro, which I think is normal for Survivor seasons now, but it's still hard to get used to. I think in the past, it used to be a cold opening and then just boom, right into the Survivor theme song, the absolute banger. And I know it used to show every single Survivor, and then it just was a banger, and then just straight to the Survivor logo. Tonight it was nothing. It was just cold opening, straight on the beach. We go straight to the Green Tribe. By the way, this episode also had the little Survivor home background segments we had last week. So it's going to be something new in this new era of Survivor where we're talking to castaways, survivors in their confessionals. You're going to see little clips of their background and of their family life. We open up with the Green Tribe. We have a Spy Shack moment this season early on. We have Rick and JD. They say they're going to get some water, and Brad, he realizes you don't need two people to get water on Survivor. I wonder if anyone else have ever realized that on Survivor, because you see, it's a common thing to say, you guys want to go get some water? I'm going to go get some water, and a whole group goes to the water hole, and then they scheme and they game, and Brad realized that, and somehow he knew a shortcut to the water hole. He knew how to get there and back faster than Rick, faster than JD, and have them not notice, and so he tells the girls, and he just starts running straight to the water hole. He gets behind a bush, sits there, hides. He's a hunter. He knows don't look at them. If you look at them, they'll look back. He closes his eyes and he listens. So what's the information he gets for all this work? Well, not a lot. They talk about him, and he realizes that JD's pretty confident, and he thinks JD has an idol. And when he goes back to camp, he's asked about it, and he's like, well, they're about to be here. I had to run back, so I'll tell you later. And Shan, she doesn't like this. She doesn't like Brad playing Survivor. She doesn't like Brad going out there and doing the Spy Shack. That's a Tony thing. Tony's a great Survivor. The second and only two-time winners has been Tony and Sandra, so two great Survivors right there. And she decides to rat out Brad to Rick. And Rick, I don't think he liked Brad anyways. He was trying to vote him off last week. And Rick is like, well, we still need to get Brad out. He's playing Survivor. And I don't like that when people play Survivor on Survivor. We go to the Blue Tribe where Deshaun is trying to make a fire. He's having a hard time, which is exactly what you probably want to do if you know how to make a fire, is have a hard time unless they really need to. It looks like you're struggling. Take a few hours, chip off that flint, hit that machete. Take a few hours. You're not good at making a fire because that makes you a threat in these newer seasons. Nasir, I think, just got tired of it. And I believe Nasir is good at making fire. I think he's trying to downplay it for that reason. But he decides to take over, and he pretty much quickly makes a new fire. And the tribe on there the Blue Tribe has pretty much turned around on Nasir. They considered voting him out. I think they considered him a threat. Remember, Nasir ratted out Deshaun, and he also ratted out Danny for looking for an idol, and then immediately Sydney ratted him out, so there's a little bit of tension there. So Nasir was kind of on the chopping block, but it never went to tribal because they won. Well, now they've turned around on Nasir. They think he's a necessity to the tribe. They like him. He's providing well for them, and so it's working out well for Nasir this week. We go to the Yellow Tribe. The Yellow Tribe looks absolutely miserable. I mean, Xander and Liliana, they're alone on the camp. The other three are, I think, looking for fish or something, but they're just like standing on the beach. And Xander's like, man, we should probably not be alone on Survivor. It's not going to work out too well for us. So they go look for the others. Except Xander's not going to look for the others. He's going to look for the advantage. And sure enough, he finds the advantage, which I predicted he would be the first one on his tribe to find one. And this advantage is, if you read it, you have to take it. So if you open it up and read it, you can't put it back. You have to deal with the consequences. Or you could just put it back and let someone else find it and deal with the consequences, which is kind of cool because if you just didn't want to gamble, you could just put it in an obvious spot and let someone else gamble. But he didn't do that. He's like, you know what? I'm going to open up, and he reads it, and this advantage is pretty much 1/3 of an idol. So the other two camps out there have the same sort of advantage in idols. And you must say something during an immunity challenge. Each one has their own special saying. And if the other survivors who found that advantage say that saying, it becomes pretty much 3 idols. But until that point happens, anyone who finds that advantage will lose their vote. So Xander has lost his vote, and he's just immediately tells Volsh, he immediately tells Ivy, since he can't vote. And now Volsh and Ivy realize, well, there's 4 people now, so if we lose, it's going to be a 2-2 tie, because Volsh, Xander, and Ivy are in their own alliance. And then you had Tiffany and Liliana kind of on the outside doing their own thing. So Ivy makes a decision, and she decides, instead of, I guess, convincing Liliana to vote out Tiffany or whatever, she decides she's going to switch sides, because historically the girls who have ridden with the guys to the very end get voted out. They don't last until as long as the guys last, apparently. So she immediately rats out Xander to Tiffany and Liliana. They get all this new information, how he has an extra vote, how he can't vote now, even though he has an extra one because of this advantage. And he has this advantage, has all the special sayings. She's seen everything. She knows everything. Completely rats him out. Xander is now this huge, absolutely huge target. We go to the immunity challenge. This time there's going to be 2 winners and also a reward as well. First place will get fishing gear as well as immunity. Second place will get immunity and a little bit less fishing gear. The tribe that loses, though, will also have to go to tribal council, and they lose their flint once again. Xander actually said his line to see if anyone else found the idol and would say their line so he could get his vote back. He did it in a very smart way. He was talking about how tired and delirious he is because of how much harder this game is. He thinks butterflies are his dead relatives. And everyone just completely laughs. No one else said the other line. And it was a great line because it's like, okay, it looks like a little funny thing he's trying to say. Maybe he's trying to get some TV time, say a little funny line, and it works. So maybe no one's really the wiser for that weird saying. But no one else said it. So the one thing I kind of thought about when I saw this is, why did he have to say it? Why not just wait until anyone else says it? Of course, the way he said it was the absolute perfect time to say it. It worked well. But is he going to have to say it again? Is he going to have to say it every single challenge until someone else says it? Or does he just have to say it once? We'll have to see. I'm pretty sure he's probably going to have to say it once, because to say that every single time, everyone's like, yeah, we heard that story before, dude. We get it. Because he could have just waited for someone else to say something, and then he could have said the line, because how they have it set up to where you can't vote until either 2 people find it and say the lines is going to force you to say the line. So no one's really going to find it and hold back so no one gets an idol unless they're wanting to lose their vote. And with the way the tribes are set up, I don't think anyone is wanting to lose their vote right now. Heather sits this one out on the blue tribe. This challenge is blue versus yellow versus green. Like all the other challenges, blue had an early lead. Yellow was having trouble this challenge. A big problem for yellow was Tiffany, which is why I thought she'd be the first one voted out. And she almost was, because I thought she'd be kind of a drain on challenges. And sure enough, Tiffany had a very hard time this challenge. At one point, just sitting there not moving, and everyone was screaming at her to move. And Jeff lost his voice, and I'm not sure why he lost his voice, but maybe it was because he was screaming at Tiffany extra hard. Who knows? But he lost his voice, and he lost it throughout the rest of the episode too. He didn't really come back for tribal too much. Anyways, blue ends up winning once again. Green takes second place. Yellow loses, and blue gets to pick someone from yellow to go on a boat trip, and they pick Evie. And they can pick either someone from green or their own tribe, I think is what were the selections. Deshaun from the blue tribe, he decided he wanted to volunteer and go, so they let Deshaun go. So Deshaun from the blue tribe, Evie from the yellow tribe. By the way, Evie from the yellow tribe is leaving with tribal council coming up, so that's some scheming time that she lost, which of course she didn't really need it, but if you did need it, that's precious time to be losing. Back at the yellow camp, Tiffany is apologizing for being a drain at the challenge, but she's confident her being terrible is not going to affect her game whatsoever. Vosh and Xander, they're trying to get Liliana to vote out Tiffany. She says she's down, so Vosh tells Xander she's down. But Liliana's not down. She goes and rats out the info to Tiffany, and Tiffany's upset Vosh is scheming against her. Now she kind of wants Vosh to go out. Liliana says, no, Xander is the biggest threat. Not only does he have an extra vote that he can't use because he can't vote, he has this idol. So he's playing this game extra hard. He's the threat. We need to get rid of him. We go to the Mystery Island. The Mystery Island segment is exactly the same as last week, except instead of 3 survivors, it was 2 survivors. Although I thought it might change. I thought it would be a different sort of reward risk. It wasn't. So we have Evie and Deshawn. They make their long trek. They talk. Evie rats out Xander to Deshawn, talks about the idols this season, how they work. Xander has one. He has an extra vote. And she tells Deshawn, go ahead and risk your vote. I'm protecting mine. I got a vote tonight, so I'm not risking it. Risk yours. Get that extra vote. It's the exact same as last week. She protected her vote. He risked it, so he gets an extra vote. We go back to the yellow camp. Evie tells the truth. We didn't hear from the blue camp, which I guess makes sense. So I'm sure we'll hear from them next week about what Deshawn experienced and if he got that extra vote or not. We had Danny go last time. I'm not sure I can't remember if Danny talked about. Oh, well, Danny protected his vote. I think he told the truth. We'll see what Deshawn says. But yeah, we're back at the yellow camp. Evie tells the tribe the truth and that she needs water. Who wants to join her? Too bad Brad's not there. He might know a shortcut to get that water and be able to listen in. How great would that have been if Xander or Vosh said, yeah, you know what? They're getting water. I know a shortcut. Run there, set up a spy shack, and they would have known what was going to come tonight at Tribal Council. So Tiffany is completely lost in this game, apparently. She thought Xander's saying was butterflies were purple, and she said it like 3 or 4 times during this segment before Tribal Council. She also said something like she was surprised he didn't have a vote. I thought she was told that earlier, but of course she's hungry, can't sleep. It's Survivor. No one's really at 100% on Survivor, so you can't really blame them. But Tiffany, she wants Vosh out instead of Xander. But not because Vosh is scheming against her. She wants Vosh out because Xander might have an idol. And Liliana and Evie try to tell her over and over, he does not have an idol. In fact, not only does he not have an idol, he can't vote because of that. And she just says, well, I will want Xander out because if he plays an idol, then I'm going home. And I don't know why no one thought to set this up to be a 2-1-1 vote. They could have set that up. If Evie and Liliana thought that Xander did not have an idol, throw 2 votes his way. She can vote Vosh. Vosh will vote Tiffany. Xander can't vote. And if Xander could vote, it'd still be, I guess, 2-2. And it would still be a 2-1 advantage on the tie. So in my opinion, that would have been the best play. They should have just convinced her that. They should have convinced her that if we need to, we'll go to Rocks for you. They don't even have to go to Rocks. They could have convinced her of going to Rocks to get her to be on their side to get Xander out. So I wonder what was really on play here. And I'll get to more on that in a moment. But because of this whole Vosh versus Xander versus Tiffany not really trusting, I guess, her alliance, there was a little moment there where it looked like Liliana and Ivy might just, vote Tiffany out instead because she's not really trusting them. Xander trusts them. Maybe that would be the right play. Anyways, we go to Tribal Council. Jeff is whispering, giving us a short pregame for Tribal Council. For some reason, I am not sure why he did that. He just said, yep, Tribal Council, someone's going to get voted out. And he said some other stuff about what the Tribal Council will probably be about. I'm really, that's the first time I've seen that on Survivor, I believe. It was kind of weird, especially because Tribal Council is boring. It wasn't a live Tribal Council or anything fun. So during the Tribal Council, we did get a little bit of a Vosh life story. He does talk about doing surgery, so he didn't keep that hidden at all, which would have probably been a smart move if he could have kept that hidden. Early in the game, maybe you want your tribe mates to think you're smart, but, you're a surgeon. You probably make a good amount of money. You're very smart. You're a physical threat. Why would they want to keep you around longer than they can if they have that information? And he did try to downplay. He said, because Jeff asked him a question, how did he know the percentage of 1/6? Did he do the math in his head, or did he just know it? And he was like, well, I just knew it. And he said, I'm not smart, I just work hard. I'm not smart. It's kind of what he was trying to say, which is the right thing to say at Tribal Council. Definitely try to downplay any achievement you may have. But the main story at Tribal Council tonight is, what is better tonight? Is it the tribe strength, aka get out Tiffany, or is it the individual game, aka get out Xander? That was a storyline for the Tribal. How will people vote tonight? And they go to vote, and the tribe votes. And the votes come back, and it's 3-1. Vosh got voted out of Survivor. Complete blindside got voted out of Survivor. And at the end there, just at the very brief end, it kind of looks like they're comforting Xander, and he's like, yeah, but this sucks. It's like, did Xander know about it? I mean, he couldn't vote, so he didn't add a vote against him. But did he know about it and just hit it from Vosh? And that would have been the completely smart play to not blindside Xander. Because not only does Xander have an extra vote, he has a potential idol. And if you can say, hey, we want to get Vosh out because he's a threat, we have a merge coming, Tiffany would be better off, whatever the reason, just let Xander know you're voting out Vosh, earn his trust a little bit, because if you go farther in the game with him, you have those advantages. You have that extra vote, you have that idol. It makes more sense than the keep Vosh, who doesn't really have anything as far as we know, and probably would not have been down on the idea. Of course, he would have been down on the idea over him, but he has nothing to really bring to the table like Xander does. So was that the reason they kept Xander over Vosh, or was it because of Tiffany's worries? I'm not really too sure. Did Xander know? Again, I'm not really too sure. And when you think about it, Xander losing his vote did not affect this episode as much as one would think, because if he had his vote and it was going to be 3-2, so he believes he's in an alliance with Ivy, he believes he's in an alliance with Vosh, and they're going to vote out Tiffany. So they think the vote's going to be 3-2. Well, if Ivy's going to switch sides, I think she's going to switch sides without an advantage. An advantage makes it harder for her to switch sides, but with an advantage, without an advantage, it'd probably be easier to switch sides if she really wants to have that girl alliance. So if she switched sides, she probably would have been able to play Vosh and Xander and have them not realize that, and it would have just been 3-2 Vosh or 3-2 Xander, because I don't think Xander would have pulled out his extra vote unless somehow he got privy to the information Ivy was switching sides and decided to pull out that extra vote. And since they know he has that extra vote, they'd probably make that top priority not to make that privy that he knows about it. Because if he did pull out the extra vote, it would have been a 3-3 tie. And at that point, it would be either probably a revote, and a revote would have most likely knocked out whoever they were voting against. So it probably wouldn't have helped him anyways. The point being is him losing a vote wasn't as big of a deal if he was switching sides regardless. One of those two were going to get voted out no matter what. So him losing his vote did not have that much of a disadvantage. And like I said, it makes sense to keep Xander. And Xander, by the way, has just absolutely played a very trusting game. And so far, I feel like it's stabbing him in the back. He's told his alliance everything. He wants to work with his alliance. And they're taking that information. And not only are they ratting him out in his own tribe, they're ratting him out all over the island. They're ratting him out to the Blue tribe. Not good for Xander. But let's get into the GOAT of the week and the BOAT of the week. Last week, the GOAT of the week. And GOAT of the week stands for terrible player, by the way. It stands for good opponent at tribal. BOAT of the week stands for bad opponent at tribal, and that means final tribal. And that means you want to sit next to a goat. You don't want to sit next to a boat. The GOAT of the week last week was JD. The BOAT of the week last week was Xander, interestingly enough. The GOAT of the week this week is Tiffany. Tiffany, terrible at challenges, terrible social game it looks like, just terrible at Survivor so far. If she makes it far, it's going to be coattail riding. It's going to be because she's not a threat. We'll keep her around. And she may end up at Final Tribal Council, but unless you have a completely bitter jury or she becomes the friendliest person on the island, she's probably not going to win that $1 million. And the BOAT of the week is Evie. She played really hard this episode. I mean, I might not agree with her blindsiding Vosh or blindsiding Xander, mostly because Vosh was one of my male winner picks and also one of my overall winner picks of the season. So to see him go out third, I'm not a big fan of that. And Xander has been playing a good game, but when you think about it from the point of view of Evie, she played hard this episode because not only did she blindside that alliance, it was a smart move on her part because let's be honest, Vosh and Xander are bigger game threats to her than Liliana and Tiffany. Way bigger game threats to her. She went from being maybe, equal footing in the alliance as far as game threat, maybe a little bit less, to completely just way above the other two in this new alliance. And not only that, not only did she get better alliance members for her personal game, she also made friends with someone from the tribe that has not lost a single survivor yet. She fed him a lot of information about the idols. She told him to go get that extra vote. Made friends with this person. So if a merge does happen soon, she has Deshawn to join an alliance with. And if she's on a tribe with Deshawn and maybe there's a blue majority alliance there, she might have put herself in a pretty good spot for a potential blue versus green civil war on the merge. With the two, if the merge is in like two different tribes, a tribe swap, I should say, not really a merge, more of a tribe swap. But we'll see. Either way, she's played a great game on tonight's episode, built a better alliance for her. made a new friend in Deshawn, and we'll see where that goes. She had to take a chance, and this is the chance she took. Again, if they don't do a tribe swap coming up, if it stays these 3 tribes until the very end, then it's not going to work out well for her, because it might work out well for her in the sense that she might be able to be the last one or one of the last 2, but it's going to completely, because there's only 4 people left, it's going to completely just wipe them out. And their tribe just got weaker. Their tribe got weaker last week when they voted out Eric. Their tribe got weaker this week by voting out Vosh. Any sort of physical challenge with the tribe set up this way, it's not gonna be good for the yellow tribe. Even on a puzzle game, I don't know how well they'll do, because they don't have fishing supplies, they don't even have flint. So we'll have to see how this plays off. If this plays off with a merge coming up, it may be a big advantage. It may be the move that wins her $1 million. But if it does not, it could be a move that loses her the $1 million, because she might not even be able to make it to a tribe swap. If you listen to this podcast, I'd love to know what you think. Tweet me at consume_review, or if you're on YouTube, leave a comment down below. Anyways, my name is Carl. I'm the Consume and Review Lad. If you're watching this on YouTube and you enjoy the podcast, please click that like button. If you do not enjoy the podcast, go ahead and subscribe. You might enjoy a future podcast. Anyways, my name is Carl. I'm the Consume and Review Lad. This has been a review for Survivor Season 41, Episode 2. Peace out.